because we're going to need to practice these in dictation.
Okay.
Now, we're really used to this by this point. Since these are all on one card, they're only going to get one tap when we're finger tapping. Okay. So if our word was wind, it's going to be wind, w-ind. Only 2 taps, even though how many letters is that going to end up having?
4.
4 letters, good, but 1 card, 1 tap.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and grab a pencil?
Sure.
And let's get a couple of these done. Your first word, cold.
Cold. K, old.
Bolt.
Bolt. B-olt.
Host.
Host. H-ost.
Child.
Child. Ch-ild.
Kind.
Kind. K-ind.
Bold.
Bold. B-old.
Excellent. Now, of course, with our students, we would want to do many, many more words, but we're ready, and I'm going to have you read from that clean copy now. And what I like to do with this clean copy sometimes is use it for some extra reading practice. So I'm going to have you do the words that you wrote and some extra words to read here.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do is please move across as you read these words.
Okay. Do you want me to start with the first line?
Yes,
Or-
and just you can just practice the sounds.
Okay, sure. Child, cold, bolt, host, kind.
Great job.
Wild, bold, colt, most, find. Mild, old, dolt, post, hind.
You don't hear that one anymore.
Fold, jolt, bind. Gold, molt, mind.
Excellent.
Hold, volt, rind.
And let's just do one more row.
Mold, wind.
Excellent. Now I'm glad that you got to wind down here. Wind has our wild old word ending IND. But you also might have heard of a little word called wind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wind and wind are spelled exactly the same way.
Okay.
You read it with the long sound because you know that we're practicing these wild old word endings. And usually it is going to be that long sound, but just know if you read a word and it doesn't sound right, or maybe it doesn't make sense in the context, even though these are commonly long vowel sounds, it doesn't have to be. So if you're reading and you say, I had to go and wind my watch, and it doesn't make any sense, you can always try the other way. So know that they're usually rule breakers, but sometimes you might have to try another sound.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and grab out your pencil again, and we are going to go ahead and do a sentence or two here.
Okay.
So our first sentence is going to be, bolt the gold in the trunk. Bolt the gold in the trunk.
Bolt the gold in the trunk.
There you go.
Do you want me to pound it again, or do you want me to write it?
You can go ahead and write it unless you'd like to reinforce. Great, and we'll do one more. Do not scold that kind child. Do not scold that kind child.
Do not scold that kind child.
Very good. All right, now we're going to go ahead and I'd like you to read a clean copy of those sentences, please.
Bolt the gold in the trunk. Do not scold that kind child.
Very nice. And again, sometimes for some extra practice, I'll have students read sentences beyond what they wrote.